Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Pup and Away podcast. My name is Stephanie. I am your host. I'm a certified dog trainer, canine behaviorist, and canine nutritionist in San Antonio, Texas, but of course, the very proud owner of Pup and Away, where we specialize in pet care with a behavioral edge. Today, I am joined by another local San Antonio business owner. Her name is Leticia, and she is the owner of Paws and Poses. So, Leticia, tell me a little bit about you, how you got your start, what is Paws and Poses, and just anything that you want our listeners to know.
I sure will. First of all, Stephanie, thank you so much for allowing me to be here
Yeah.
and just connect with you and your followers. So Paws and Poses, I actually been interested in photography for quite some time, but it turned into pet photography when a friend of mine that worked at Dogtopia knew that I was a photographer and they needed someone to take their Santa photos. And so
Cute.
I did it and had so much fun. I was like, I should be paid to do this. Like,
Yeah.
this would be a blast. And it just grew from there.
That's amazing. So it was just kind of, so you've always been focused or interested in photography, and just
Correct.
one little experience was like,
Yeah,
let me lean.
I've mainly been interested in like wildlife and landscape photography. And
Okay.
I think just, that's how San Antonio is, right? Having conversations with people, communications and
Yeah.
relationships are huge here. And so in just talking to someone and then finding out what my interests are, they were able to connect me, ultimately with something that I just love doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then you grew a whole business out of it.
Absolutely.
So how long has Paws and Poses been around? How long have you been photographing pets?
Great question. So, I actually have a full-time job during the day, and so
Wow.
for the rest of the time, I spend time with Paws and Poses. So, I started in May of last year.
Okay.
So May of this year will be my 1 year anniversary, and we've kind of got something in the works for that
That's
little
very
fiesta.
exciting.
Yes,
Oh, a little fiesta. I love that.
yes. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, been in business almost a year.
That's
And
amazing.
if you
Congrats.
hear me rustling, as you know, I'm dealing
We
with
always
these.
got pets.
Yes,
Some cuties, right?
absolutely.
Do you want to tell everyone who your babies are?
Yeah, so actually, I don't know if I explained this to you previously. I used to be scared of animals.
Oh.
When I was younger, there was a dog attack in my family.
Oh gosh.
And so they were fine. The dog was fine. The person was
Yeah.
fine. But that just instilled some fear. And so I actually met someone that had a puppy, and she was so cute, I couldn't even turn her away. And so that was this puppy.
Oh, what a
And
sweet
now
girl.
this is my Mila. She's 14 and a half.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then I love Mila so much, I ended up keeping her daughter. So
What
this
a
is
cutie.
Mandy.
Very cute. I love
Thank
that.
you.
That's very interesting. So you at once were afraid of dogs, and now you have a business that is
Yes.
it revolves around dogs, and
Yes.
in a very interesting way too, I think, because some of the things that we'll talk about, photographing dogs is not the easiest thing. It's fun, but it does take a little bit of a special understanding of a dog to really capture some stuff. So what we might circle back to, your fear and how you kind of use that in your photography, and understanding the dog. But first, what makes a successful photography session with a pet?
So that's a great question because I feel like you can walk away from a session feeling like it was successful and get the
Mm.
pictures back and you're like, what was that? Um,
This is not, I was not here for this thing.
this was not successful. So I feel like if so I know people a lot of times are frustrated with photographers because it can take you some time to get the photos back to them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know if people realize that a part of the reason for that is your photographer kind of needs a break from
Mm,
looking at those pictures because just like
mm,
words, if you say it enough, it doesn't sound like a real word.
mm.
The pictures, if you look at them enough, you can't tell the difference between what's good and what's not. And so you
Gotcha.
kind of have to step away for a while and come back to, and you're like, wow, I took that. Like, that's kind of cool. So I think that what makes us successful, I think you get the feeling of it, but I think also just making sure that the pet is comfortable, the pet
Hmm.
parents have been comfortable, they're pleased with your service,
Hmm.
and they got the photos ultimately that they wanted.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
necessarily what I wanted to take a picture of, but what they wanted.
Sure, sure. What you said, like having to walk away from it, it reminds me of I've done those painting your pets. You know, when you go and you drink wine and stuff.
Yes.
And I like to paint, but I'm not good at it. And so
Hmm.
like when I'm there doing stuff, the class instructor is always like, you need to walk away for a minute, take a
Yes,
breather, go get a snack, get some perspective, come back, and then like with a fresh mind. So I can only imagine that that's
absolutely.
kind of along the same lines of what you're feeling there when you're looking at thousands, well, hundreds, probably thousands, right?
Yes.
Of photos, depending on how long the session is and how much you're clicking.
Yeah.
In in the moment, what are some things that maybe pet parents haven't really thought about, like I'm a trainer, right?
Hmm.
So I'm always looking at things from like how can we prepare a dog to do whatever it is that we want. So there are specific things that you as a photographer are really hoping that this pet parent has worked on with their dog, or are there any words of advice that you give like between them booking it and then you guys actually meeting for the session?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of times pet parents have in their mind that they wish their dogs, if they can get their dogs to sit still, then they take pictures.
Hmm.
You show me a dog that sits still all the time whenever you want it to, and I will be shocked and awed, okay?
Yeah.
It just does not happen. And so, the purpose of Paws and Poses, we want to capture your pet's personality. So that may
Mm.
be the tongue out, the quirky movie look, um, them looking behind or something like that may actually enhance the session. So what I wish, the main thing I wish that pet parents would know is to take off the expectation.
Mm.
Come in and just plan to have fun. Like let your
Yeah.
dog be themselves.
Yeah.
Um, I try to make sure that I'm not approaching your dog over eager with that hyper energy because I am also excited to take their picture. But that excitement can cause the tenseness in the room to elevate a little bit, right?
Sure,
Because that
sure.
dog doesn't necessarily know me. So
Right.
that can stress them. So I think the other thing is it's not just about the pets being prepared, it's about letting them know that I prepare myself for your pet to come in.
I
Um,
love that.
Thank you.
That's so
Um,
nice.
I try. And then I would say mainly making sure that um, you have treats. Your dog is prepared to listen to you.
Mm.
I would make sure they've used the bathroom before they come in, especially if it's a
Mm.
studio session. And if they're dogs that use pads, you can bring pads in with you.
Okay.
Yeah, so just the basics. Make sure you have and I'm not talking a regular biscuit. I'm talking high value treats that are
Cheese,
going,
chicken, hot
yes,
dog, something small,
absolutely.
easy to give. Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Chances are I probably have it, but it helps if we both have it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I am holding
absolutely.
two cameras. So you're able to give them the treat while I'm taking the picture.
Wonderful. So you do in studio and you also do not in studio? Like will you meet like at a park? And if so, like do you find that the sessions just rock and roll differently if you're in studio versus out of studio?
That's a great, I've never really questioned that. I think that really it depends on what the person is looking for
Okay.
when it determines where we'll be.
Okay.
And the weather has a lot to do with it. So like when
Sure.
I did a photo shoot a couple of months ago, like it's cold. Who wants to
Mhm.
do one outside, right? I did one on Sunday when it got down in the 40s, but that was outside because that was our plan. I think
Gotcha.
that it really depends on the individual. And I think the ones outside tend to just be a little more free because you can move about, the dog can move about. You don't have to worry about them. Oh, are they going to jump on this? Are they going to scratch
Yeah.
that? That's what the ground is for. We're at a park, right? Like, let them jump, let them scratch. I have done them at the Japanese tea garden downtown.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten some great shots there, especially my holiday photos. They looked stellar when they were there.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm open to taking them in people's homes.
Okay.
You, a lot of times I think I post a lot about this as well, about, cute mini sessions and things like that. But you got to remember there are friends their entire lives. And so, when it starts to get to the point where it's time to celebrate their lives or, maybe start thinking of end of life sessions, a lot of times the planning around that is just emotionally too much for that person. Um,
Absolutely.
and
Oh, I'm
so
tearing up just thinking about it.
I know it's so tough. But I tell you what, it's the most rewarding thing that I've done. Probably with this business, that and working with rescues,
Yeah.
because that pet parent can look back and see like, okay, like I know my dog was loved, but now that I can see how my dog was loved. Um,
Yes.
and so usually taking that photo, taking that session within their environment helps keep the dog or the pet calm,
Mhm.
and it helps calm the pet parent because they're familiar with their own surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. So Sully's 15. My schnauzer. I don't even know what he's doing. What
Okay, so just so you know, that's one of my favorite poses because they do that and then they look back, and I like to play the song "Look Back at It."
I love that. I love that. So yeah, this guy's 15, very close in age to your
Yes,
Mila. Is that her name?
Mila.
Nyla.
Yeah.
And so of course, pre-grief as a dog mom is very, very real. And I think about the day that, how am I going to prepare for that? And end of life photography
Yes.
session is definitely something that I will absolutely do. So I
Hmm.
think that's beautiful that you offer that.
Thank you.
What kind of other sessions? So obviously we talked about end of life. You'll
Yeah.
have holiday photos.
I
What kind of
do. So
other
I
things?
tend to, so I have something called my Paws and Poses portrait pack. And
Okay.
my pack, we all meet a few times a year to take photos. So we did a Valentine's themed photo for the pack. We have a Mother's Day photo theme coming up in April. Our hope is to do Fiesta. Fiesta and Mother's Day are pretty close together this year, so I'm not sure how
Yeah.
that's going to work out. And then we will definitely do Halloween and Halloween and Christmas. So
Cute.
for over half the cost, like they got over half off, they're able to participate in all of these photo shoots with no additional cost for the year.
So tell us about that. So it's like it
Yeah.
almost sounds like a subscription sort of thing, a monthly
Yes.
thing. So
So last year, so what I did was I offer for $200, you are a part of our portrait pack. And I did that
okay.
around Thanksgiving. And the people who purchase the portrait pack get 5 mini sessions a year. If Yeah. So it's
I'm
like
like, sign me
40.
up.
Yes, it's like $40 a session when normally, my holiday session alone was 125. So,
Yeah.
now you're getting to participate in all of the sessions that I offer mainly all year round.
Super cute. I love that. It's a
Yeah.
great business model.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because I get to see your dogs at all different stages. I with that team, it's really kind of neat because I get to communicate more frequently with them, and I let them know, hey, Mother's Day minis 419. I let them know the
Yeah.
day. They let me know that they're coming. It's kind of informal, but it's a great way to keep building that relationship.
Yeah, and I bet the more that you photograph a specific dog, the more comfortable they get, the more that
Absolutely.
you start to capture their personality in that. I love that
Absolutely.
so much. I haven't heard of a
Thank you.
photographer doing that like as a pack, a little subscription model.
Yeah.
I will be getting more information about that. Thank you.
Yay. Sounds
'Cause that
good.
sounds so amazing, and I hope that a lot of our listeners definitely take into that too, or look
Thank
into
you.
that too. What you kind of already covered what makes a session successful. Is there something that would ruin a session
You know
that you
what?
can think
That
of?
is so funny because when I read your question, I did kind of, think about it for a while, and I'm like, I don't know that I've had a bad shoot.
Yeah.
I have
Great.
had photos that I wish I could redo that I think would look even better the second time around, or maybe with a different lens or something like that. I've had, you know, I've had sessions where a dog might be in heat. I've had sessions where a dog really didn't like me.
Mm,
That's fine. Like, that's fine. I don't have to touch your dog. I don't have to
mhm.
interact with your dog. Or it's just a little bit of blood. We'll wipe it up. Like, sorry, I know I know we're talking liquids here, but it's not like that's what editing is for. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't kill the session. I think
Good.
the only issue would be obviously if there's a bite situation or anything like that. But I've had that too. And we kept taking pictures. We were good. Like it's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it didn't break skin. We're good.
Good, good, good. So this might be where we cycle back into your fear of
Yes,
dogs. So obviously
yes,
you're like, okay, this is like not one of your worst nightmares, but obviously like you're reliving something that
yes.
was kind of traumatic for you, even though you weren't the one that was bit. So tell me a little bit about how you deal with that anxiety, or maybe is this helping you with that fear?
You're so smart. So, as an adult, I have really taken it upon myself to try to tackle some of the fears that I had as a child. So, swimming was one of those. I learned to swim at
Mm.
35.
Mm.
Um, so, being around dogs was one of them. I had Mila, my first dog, when I was 31. And so, even snakes, I've learned about snakes.
Okay.
I've joined the Central Texas Snake ID Club on Facebook.
Wow, look at you.
So that I could learn more about patterns and who I really need to be scared of or stay away
That's
from and who I
gorgeous.
don't.
Information is power. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, and so even though that was a fear of mine as a child, I knew in me that as an adult, okay, you can't avoid every dog. Like some
Mhm.
people, you're going to be someplace or you're going to have acquaintances that have pets and you need to learn to handle it. And I
Yeah.
couldn't walk away from her. Now, I didn't know how to deal with her when I first got her. Like there was a lot of Caesar Milan and book reading. Okay,
Gotcha.
but once I understood her and understood her mannerisms and her movements and what the different signs to if she was anxious or
Yeah.
frustrated, or I was able to know better how to deal with her in various situations. So
Hmm.
when her puppies came along, I learned even more, obviously, because I'm now dealing with four puppies and
Yeah.
raising them. And so I think really just exposure and learning about what scares you. Do it scared, right?
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. I feel like obviously not many people will embrace their fears. And even more so, not many people will embrace their fears and make a business out of it. So good for
Look, I
you.
can't find a dog that I don't like. Like, your dog cannot like me. That doesn't mean that I won't like him.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
I
I
don't
love
care.
that. We're all here for that.
Yes.
When someone is considering who to hire for a photographer, right?
Mhm.
And I think there's lots of different options here because it depends on what is it that we're photographing. Are we photographing a wedding? Are we photographing a family thing? Just a pet, or just kind of like you said, the end of life stuff, things that are more specific for pets. What are some things that pet photographers might do a little bit differently than non-pet photographers to capture
Yeah.
the image of a pet?
That's a great question. So, a lot of times, depending when you're dealing with people, the speed of your camera the shutter speed doesn't have to be as quick.
Mm.
But when you're capturing action photos, sports photos, photos of animals or pets, you definitely need to focus on that shutter speed because as you know, dogs move and cats move super quickly and you'll miss that shot.
Hmm.
So that's definitely, I think, something that makes us a little different from traditional
He got
photographers. I see
he got
it.
he got
I see
antsy.
it.
He likes the subject, I
Yes.
guess.
And I
So
think
camera lens.
yes, yes. Camera lens shutter speed is huge. Lighting for dogs can be a little different than lighting for people,
Hmm.
mainly because you'll deal with dogs that are completely black or completely white, and then what type of
Right.
lighting do you use? And then I think also you can't you can't talk about it without talking about the interaction piece and the level of comfortability.
Mm.
Photographers are amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like even photographers that are not pet photographers are
Hmm.
amazing. They've studied their craft. They've fine tuned it. They've honed it. But those of us that choose to focus in pet photography, it is because we have a specific interest in learning how your pet best handles that situation,
Mm.
and how to make that session comfortable and enjoyable for all.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I am not a pet photographer, but I do I call it your dog's plus one. So I will
I love
nanny
it.
people's dogs to their weddings. And it's one of
Yay.
my absolute favorite things to do. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
And it can do a whole bunch of different, I can go pick up the dog, take it to the wedding. But of course, most of my clients want their dogs to be involved in the photos.
Right.
And so one thing that I guarantee is I am busting my ass to help your wedding photographer
Yes.
get good images of your pets because a lot of things are so different, right? We're at a venue, there's flowers everywhere. Mom and dad are are in nice clothes that we
Different
don't want them to be jumping
smells.
on.
Yes.
Exactly. And so I just did one recently, and they had very specific poses that they wanted their dogs to be in. The first one was they wanted the dog's face with the girls' bouquets all around
I
them.
love it.
Super cute. The dog
Hmm.
was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Like, so
Hmm.
they would put like a bouquet here and he would like walk away.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, no biggie. So I gave him some treats. I let him relax for a second. And then I asked for a sit. And I want to ask the photographer who was doing it if she happens to have me in it, because I'm in the back holding on to the dog like this and like feeding treats to him at the same time. And like I give a treat and like move my hand out of the way and all the bouquets are all around. And then, so I think they got the image. They got what they
She
wanted.
definitely got you.
And there was another one where she wanted the bride's hand, the groom's hand, and the dog's paw. So again, I'm like behind the dog, holding his little
Yes.
paw out.
Yes.
So there's just a bunch of different things you have to consider, and knowing, even just I always carry a bunch of different squeaky toys with me, so I can stand behind the photographer and make some noises. I'm jumping up and down. I'm making weird noises. I'm getting on the ground. I'm
Absolutely.
howling at the moon. Like
Listen, it's
all
a
of
workout.
it is.
Yes.
And half the time, I think that the bridal party has like these really big grins on their face, mostly because they're laughing at me and what I'm trying to do to get the dog to look. But we capture the images, and it is great.
That's awesome.
What about, so it sounds like you're more of like an authentic, like let's just capture whatever we get. But I think, and you speak on that, but are there other like things that you wish that the dog would know, like a good sit stay or something like that is
So
helpful?
I think that a good sit stay is worth its weight in gold. If
Gorgeous.
you can hold your dog's attention while I'm taking the pictures, I do planks. I will do ab crawls, army crawls, whatever we need to get this photo, okay? I have a video on my Instagram called the photographer workout, and it is the different workouts that I need to do to be ready for these photo shoots. I will do
Yes.
whatever's necessary. But if your dog sits and stays, oh, it's beautiful. Like we
Gorgeous.
can, yeah. And then they can run around. I get some silly pictures of them, picture of you and them, they're licking your face or something. I am good with all of that.
I love
But if you as a pet parent want a specific photo of them with that background, they've got to be able to sit and stay.
Yeah, yeah, and to practice it a little bit too. And I
Hmm.
think one thing that's very interesting when it comes to like people like, yeah, my dog knows to sit stay, like no biggie. And then when we get them in front of the camera, the dog's like, I don't know how to do this, because if you think about it, when a human is training their dog, they are facing each other.
Yes.
And sometimes when you want to both be in the photo, you cannot be facing
I
each
didn't
other.
think about that even. Yes.
So just being able to orient yourself next to your dog is something
Absolutely.
that I usually will try to work with any of my clients who are prepping for a
Yeah.
photography session as well. That, and obviously a good downstay.
Yeah.
But for the person to be able to revolve or all around the dog
Yeah.
is important there.
Well, and to have someone like you, like at a wedding, I mean, even to have, it's like having an assistant at a photo shoot, right? Most photographers do have assistants at
Hmm.
photo shoots, and I'm working towards that. But at this
Yeah.
point, it's me and the pet parents. And so you essentially become the assistant. So if your dog will listen to you, we're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have yet to be in one where I can't get something great. So yeah,
Gorgeous.
it's been fantastic. So I'm sure that they appreciate your services.
Oh, I hope so.
I love
I
I
have so
love
much fun
that.
doing
My
it.
your pets plus one. That is
Yeah,
fabulous.
I love it. And then we walk around together at cocktail hour, and everyone's saying
Yes.
hi to the dog, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm his plus one, and my name's Stephanie."
Yes. Oh my gosh, I would come up with an outfit. I don't know.
So it
That's
definitely is
awesome.
a ton of fun.
Yes.
So, Letitia, where can the listeners find more about you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website?
I live my life on Instagram these
Okay.
days.
That makes
I,
sense.
I do spend a lot of time on Instagram, a lot of time on Facebook. Paws and poses, and the N is like the N in Guns and Roses.
Oh, I hadn't put those two things together, and now I love
Yes,
it.
that might be a whole millennial or Gen X thing, but it was that way actually because the name is Pause and Poses is the name of another photography studio outside of Texas, and
Oh, gotcha.
so I did not want to take someone else's name, obviously, so I
Yeah.
had to change it up a bit. But that is, yeah, you can find me on Instagram at underscore paws and poses. I also have a website, pawsandposespetphotography.com. And my packages are there. I try to keep up with some of the different shoots I had and the sessions I post there as well.
Cute. And we can find out information about the photography pack on the website as well.
You can't, actually, you can't. The
Oh.
photography pack only comes out around Black Friday.
Oh, so we have to be in the know at a
You need
certain
to
time
be
of the
in the
year.
know. So if you go to my website and subscribe to a newsletter,
Mm,
that's when
gotcha.
you find out. Either
Love
that
it.
or follow me on Instagram and I will definitely post about it.
Love that. That's so good. I'm
Yes.
so interested and I will be signing up. So I will be subscribing to all the
Yay!
things and waiting for Black Friday to get in on that. It's like a little exclusive club.
It
I'm
is,
here
it
for
is.
it.
Thank
Very good.
you.
Is there
Thank
anything else that you want our listeners to know about you, pet photography, anything?
No, you did ask me a question about one thing I wish that, or what separates us from photographers and pet photographers. I
Yeah.
will tell you, dogs are sensitive to sound as well. And so
Mm.
some of us make sure that we have cameras with silent shutter speed so that it doesn't scare the dog when the shutter clicks.
I didn't
And
know that was a thing.
you wouldn't think so, but it's a
Wow.
thing. Yes.
And
Um,
that's so thoughtful.
yeah, I mean, I had a dog that was genuinely scared of the sound of a camera. I'm like, somebody traumatized this poor thing with a camera.
Oh
But
gosh.
yeah, but that was just one more thing I thought of. But
Yeah.
yeah, other
That's
than
so
that,
thoughtful.
thank you. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I appreciate your invitation and your time. This was so much fun.
Good, good. Well, I hope that, San Antonio, well, that's another question. Will you work outside of San Antonio? Like,
I
you have
will, yes.
limits on that.
Yes, so I travel to Austin and the surrounding areas as well.
Okay.
There is a travel fee, but yes, I'm willing to travel.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, Letitia, you were amazing. I love your energy. I can't wait to
thank
work with you in the
you.
future. We might be
Ditto.
looking for a pet photographer for our open house. I'm hoping to have sometime soon. So I will definitely be getting in contact with you and
Do
hopefully we'll be
so,
working
please.
together.
Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. All right. Well, everyone, we will catch you at the next episode. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Now, that might be the end of the episode, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Follow us on social media. I'd love to connect with you. We have quite a few social media platforms. For nutrition and holistic pet care tips, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Steph the Pro Dog Mom. You can find fun training tips on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Pup Pup and Away SA. If you're in San Antonio and you want to bring your dog to us for boarding, training, socialization, and nutrition, come find us. But if you're not in San Antonio, we do training and nutrition sessions virtually. Yes, they can be just as effective, I promise. Please rate, review, and subscribe to my podcast on whatever platform you listen on. And please, please, please share with a friend. The positive reinforcement of knowing people actually listen to this and find it valuable helps motivate me to keep on recording. We'll see you guys at the next episode.